Now I can see more intensive displacements from the security areas, and the people those who are displaced are along the roads finding shelters under the trees, and they are unable to bear the horrible weather and the rains and the droughts and the dust of the roads, and their children are suffering from epidemic infested diseases. So those children have no treatments, and those children have no other facilities for a simple life, for a basic survival for their livelihood. Now, as I have seen the places, as the usual routine for the conveyance of essential commodities, for the free ration issue for the people are being closed. The people are starving, and the children, most of the children are undernourished. Even the food, essential food such as dal, flour, rice and other essential commodities are not being provided for the refugees who live under the trees, shades. And even the sanitation has become from bad to worse because of the expulsion of the volunteer institutes like World Vision and Geneva Red Cross Society and other voluntary service institutions has been expelled from this area by the Sri Lankan government. As a result, sanitation are being very poor, and the people are suffering from epidemic diseases such as cholera, diarrhea. Even the children are more vulnerable to these diseases, and they are suffering. Even elementary and basic treatments are being not provided because of the deficiency of drugs in the hospitals. The government hospitals has been bombarded, shelled and completely destroyed with the drugs and the equipments and the instruments for treatments. With the improvised instruments and with the very mild drugs which are not fit for treatments are only being provided for those injured and succumb to injuries, deaths, and for those children who were injured, and for those babes who were being infected with diarrhea and other epidemic diseases. Now, starvation is the most prominent problem in these areas, congested areas. The people, not only the grown-up people, but the children and the babies. The babies the parents could not afford to buy milk powders for their babies and for their small children. The adults cannot be provided with nourishing diets. Only dal and rice, which were available in the cooperative shops, now are not available because of the closure of the usual routine for the supply of commodities, for the transport of the commodities. Now that we can see that there is a wanton genocide by the government has been going on, and the minorities are being suppressed and oppressed, it seems, and they don't have any privileges to live in this nation as a peaceful citizens like the majority singular groups. They are being treated and they are being faced with so many frustrating and desperate problems such as killings, massacre and genocide, which is intolerable and which is not being heard and which is not being listened by the international communities, and they are not interested in solving the problem and in finding any solutions for this severe situation and the horrible hunger and the horrible genocide and the horrible sheltering situations which these Tamil civilians of Vanni suffering. I hope that there should be an immediate solution for this situation, which the international communities and the international institutions should concentrate on Vanni situation and rectify its problems, such as mostly the killings of the innocent minority people, not only the grown-ups, not only the adults, but also the children and the babes are being killed and fatally injured. So that should be first curbed, and that should be first taken into consideration by the international communities, so that this killing should be stopped immediately. Otherwise, these minority Tamils, mostly in Vanni, and those who are refugees in a congested area, which soon be killed and soon be injured fatally and soon be disabled by the Sri Lankan government. On the other hand, the children and babies, those who are suffering from undernourishments, those who are suffering anemic because of the unnourished diets, and those who are suffering without the essential milk food, should find a solution for all this situation. And this is also should be taken and be considered, and should have a concern that should be shown by the international community and by the volunteer forces of the international community. I hope that there should be an immediate solution for all these, for the problem of genocide, for the problem of hunger, and for the problems of shelter, and for the problems of the undernourished children. The immediate solution should be found, and I hope the assistance for this problem and the assistance for this help and the assistance for this situation, to rectify these situations, the international community should shoulder the responsibility and take charge of the whole this nasty atmospheric problem, and see that the government of Sri Lanka come to a negotiative solution and to find an immediate rectifying peaceful situation. I hope again, and I even beg on behalf of these Vanni civilians who have been displaced in their own lands and who are suffering a lot, and who horribly tolerate all this, and who horribly suffer all these things, should be rectified and seen that it should be soon done by the international community. Again I insist that international community should focus this and see that the government of Sri Lanka should be brought under pressure, and they should insist a pressure on the government to see that all this be rectified, and to bring a normalcy and to bring a peaceful life to these suffering citizens who were displaced in their own lands.